Hey, it's Ryan Martin here from Revive, and today I want to share one of our client stories with you, Danielle Glensiter. So when Danielle came to us, she had many different issues going on, and one of those issues was a crippling gut pain that had been going on for years, and another one, which had come on recently in the last year, had been an irregular heartbeat, which was causing her lots of anxiety and panic. And when she went to the doctors, they said the only way they could cure it would be by going inside her leg and burning out some of her heart. Obviously, Danielle didn't want to go for this procedure, considering it was going to be extremely painful, and it came with no guarantees that it would be able to actually heal what was going on. And she's found our work and come on board with our program. So here's Danielle to tell her story and of how she healed. And I'll see you guys on the other side. So we're here with one of our clients, Danielle, and just really want to tell you a bit about Danielle's story, what she was going through, results she's got, and really, I just want her to let you all know how it's possible, no matter what you've been going through, that you don't need to go down the route of medication, surgery, etc., and you can get to full health. So, Danielle, just for people out there, what were some of your issues, or what were the issues you were going through, and how long have they been a problem for you?
So, I've been experiencing sort of stomach issues for a number of years, but I'd always thought that it was something I could get under control myself, and tried a few doctor's visits, but it always sort of just got brushed aside. And then one morning in 2019, I woke up with the most horrendous fast heartbeat, is the only way I can describe it. And I just thought something was horribly wrong. Went to see a doctor, and they sent me straight for some tests and scans, and they said that there was definitely something erratic going on, but they weren't sure what it was. And this continued for months, and it was 24 hours a day. My heart was doing this thing. I can only describe it as how your heart feels just before you do something really scary, but it was constant and it was exhausting, and I was waiting for consultants appointments, and it just seemed never ending. And when I finally did get to see somebody, they recommended beta blockers initially, and then they called it an ablation procedure, which is where they go in through your leg whilst you're awake, which sounds horrendous, and burn out a piece of your heart. And I left that consultation just feeling scared about the idea of this procedure, and also that something wasn't right. This thing had come out of the blue for me, and I just felt if it was something I'd had my whole life, I would have known about it beforehand. And something was telling me I could get control of this myself. So I started doing these sort of obvious, cutting out some alcohol and caffeine, and I was up and down. Sometimes got better, and then it would get worse again. And then by the end of last year, 2020, sort of October time, I've been following Ryan's work for quite a long time, just reading some of the bits that he posted, and I'd seen a few of the testimonials, and I just thought, we're in lockdown, I've got some more time on my hands, I really can't cope with this feeling in my heart anymore, and I really don't want this operation. I'm gonna go for it and see if there's something that we could do about it. And that was when I approached Ryan.
Cool, yeah, and that's sort of similar. I mean, very similar story to a lot of people. They go through the medical system, and they speak to doctors, and they don't really have an answer apart from cutting them, burning them, or some sort of medication. So you've been following for a while, and that gave you a chance to what we did before our testimonials. And so when you come on board, how did you find the program, and like the group setting, and what results did you get?
So the initial step of the program was a phone call with yourself, and I I guess that phone call in itself was such a big step, because in preparation for that, I kind of wrote down everything that was going on with me, and it was like this sudden realization that I've got all of these things going on, and they must be interrelated. And you sort of, you go to the doctor about one issue or another issue at one time or another, but when you look at everything on a piece of paper, you think, what, something central's got to be going on here. This has all got to be connected. And we talked through it all, and I left that conversation sort of for the first time feeling like hopeful about doing something myself about this. And then I started the program, and initially it was a bit of a shock. I love my tea and biscuits. I love my chocolate. I've been very honest about that. I've got a real sweet tooth, and so the change in diet was a shock to begin with, but very quickly, when you start feeling so good so fast. Sorry.
That's right. You're still going from my end. Yeah.
It eggs you on. You sort of think, well, even if I want the biscuits, I'm feeling so good, I'm going to keep going with this. And I guess what really surprised me was that diet was just one small element of this, and once you've got that down, you keep going with that. But aside from that, I just learned so much. You're put into this group community where everybody supports each other, everyone's so welcoming. You feel like you've constantly got somewhere to go and ask questions or get some support if you're struggling. And yeah, just the learning and the knowledge and all the podcasts this has put me onto and learning about, and that's what I liked as well, was that it's not just about Ryan's work and he explains everything he does, but also he puts you on to different people. Have a look at this, have a look at that, and you just come across this wealth of knowledge and this whole world that you may or may not have known anything about before. And it's so interesting, and it really is sort of inspiring and keeps you going. So that was October, and we're 4 months down the line now, and I haven't had any of, they call them, I have to read this because it's so complicated, monomorphic ventricular ectopics is what they called what was happening, and I haven't had any of that for at least 2 months now. Nothing. Which is amazing, because I had that all day every day for nearly a year. So that is really fantastic. I'm very confident to go back to that consultant now and say no thank you to the beta blockers and the operation. And yeah, I mean, the heart thing aside, it's improved everything. More energy, more sort of clarity, and you just this real focus on sort of just feeling really good in yourself. So I've loved every minute of it, and yeah, I cannot recommend it enough. I would, for anyone considering it, I would just say, just go for it. It's been worth every penny, and it's meant that I haven't got to go and have a really scary operation that had a load of risks attached, which as this has proven, were entirely unnecessary.
Risks with no results guaranteed as well, right?
Yeah.
And so you mentioned the heart. I mean, that's fantastic. What about, and you said the energy, the clarity, which is awesome. How's the gut?
Yeah, my stomach's been amazing. And the interesting thing is, because you 4 months is quite a long period, and this is obviously a sort of program to set you up for life, and I did have slip ups, and they've almost been beneficial in themselves, because you have a slip up and you think, oh yeah, I want some of that, I'm going to have that, and you slip up, and then you notice immediately the difference in yourself. You can feel things, and you just think, wow, everything I'm putting into my body has such a big impact, and it really shows you those days where you sort of slip up on something. It's a lesson in itself. So yeah, my stomach's been fantastic, my heart's been fantastic. Yeah, it's great.
And so that's in itself. It's, you said, setting yourself up for life, but also being aware. And then once you're aware, then, as I always say, like I always say to people, it's not about being perfect. If you do something outside the lines, you just get back on the saddle. And those, we call it the pain teacher. When it tells you, it's like, okay, and it means you learn so you can move forward, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And you've already said, and I mean, I always say to people, you're not actually investing in us, you're investing in yourself. And when it comes to it, if I said to you, how much would you have paid just to not have that surgery?
Absolutely.
And then it's setting you up for life. So yeah, for anyone out there, you said you definitely recommend getting in touch.
Yeah, and it's not just a 4-month program where it's like, right, I'm finished tomorrow and that's me done and I go back to my life. I've learned tools is how I would explain it. I've got a set of tools now. So if I'm getting particularly stressed, I know what to do. If my diet's gone a bit wonky, I know what to do. Things are in my head now that have never been before. I think I mentioned to Ryan before, I might have had a drink or something at some point, and I'm saying to myself something that Ryan's taught me, which is the solution to pollution is dilution. And these things are popping into my head. And it's just amazing because you've just constantly got these tricks, this bag of tricks to keep yourself on track and pull yourself back on track if you've gone off track, and not worry about it, because it's not, oh, I've done this, now everything's gone wrong. It's right, I've had this, now I'm going to do that and keep going. And it's definitely, for me, having tried other things in the past, this is a much longer term solution and a real change in mindset to a more sort of positive one that allows for everyday life to get in the way, but to keep going with it.
And that's the key. So I'd say long-term transformation, and it's changing your identity around who you are, which is what you've done. So in terms of how it's changed your life from when you first gave me a call to now, how would you say life's changed, or what are you able to do maybe that you weren't, or vice versa?
I guess because particularly with the heart issue, when it's your heart, it's the fear. So it was this fear that I needed to hold back. Then I loved my exercise, I loved the gym and classes and things like that, but once that had started, I had this constant fear that I didn't want to push myself too far because I didn't know what was going to happen with my heart. And in lots of situations I would get scared that it was going to get bad, and it was holding me back. And now that it's gone, I feel free, and I can go back to doing all of those things that I love doing without that fear. So that's the real positive change that it's made for me.
Awesome, Dom. Thank you very much for sharing that, Danielle.
Thank you.
Because I think just people out there, just the whole point about this is to get them to understand that they can get better. They just have to give their body the right circumstances to do so, and also for long-lasting change, it's just changing that mindset and giving people the tools so they can continue to move forward. So it's been an absolute pleasure working with you, and seeing the results bring a big smile to my face. So thank you as well.